Hi, my name's Barry Darnell and I'm the Director of Career Analysts who distribute the Morrisby products in Australia. Xavier have been using Morrisby since 2013 with their Year 10s, so if you've had a Year 10 going through in that time, you'll recognise the 20-page printed report which the students received. It was called the Morrisby Report. This year, partly because of COVID-19, but also because, to be honest, it was just the right time to move, Xavier have migrated to the online Morrisby Profile. And there are some benefits of that. One is the ability to recomplete any or all of the assessments and questionnaires. The questionnaires can be done at any time by the student. If any of the timed assessments need to be recompleted, careers advisors can reset them for them. Secondly, you can adapt the results to fit with the online system. And I'll show you what I mean by that later, but essentially you're able to change a number of weightings and settings so students can see themselves from different perspectives. And I think what we have now is a system that allows students to interactively come in and out of a system at a series of points in time, and the system will support career decision making, certainly for the last couple of years of school, but it does come with a lifetime access. So if they're in first few years of uni and they're not quite sure what the next step is, they might want to come back and review Morrisby, and it will still be there for them. There are a couple of more detailed videos I'll draw your attention to. The first one is looking at the assessments or tests themselves and the underlying theory, which is called differential ability, 60-year history behind differential ability being useful for careers guidance. And there's also a more in-depth system demonstration than the one I'm going to provide now. So if you haven't come across Morrisby, what is it? Well, essentially it's an online careers guidance tool. It measures a range of aptitudes or abilities, career interests and personality, but Morrisby blends that data to generate some career suggestions, which are a start point for further research. And there's a website there, careeranalysts.com.au, where if you wanted to, you could complete the practice questions, see what the boys went through, have a look at a longer introductory video. So what I'm now going to do is take you into a student's profile from the student's perspective. And here we are. So I always suggest that students start off with the planner page and invite a parent or guardian to view their results. In doing that, they're not sharing their password with you, and while you can go in multiple times and change settings and do what-if scenarios, as soon as you log out, any changes you make are lost. So you're not permanently impacting your son's results. Starting off with the Profile tab, I click on that and a series of sub-tabs pops up. Here we're looking at aptitudes. This is talking about the student's aptitude shape. High abstract, low verbal tends to be found in people in careers in certain kinds of careers, and the shape is always more important than the level. On this page we're siloing the information just to talk about aptitudes. Whereas if I click on interests, we're just looking at interests, and you can delve into these in more detail under World of Work, and if students want to retake the questionnaire, they can. There's information on work style, workplace, personality. Again, they can recomplete this. And there's also two questionnaires which students almost certainly haven't done yet. One is looking at work values. This is a sample report, which I've done before. And one is looking at study interests. And the difference between interests and study interests is study interests are asking, what would you like to study? Whereas career interests are talking about the tasks and the environment you'd like to work in. So slightly different views. Okay, that was the bottom line. Now the top row here is where Morrisby attempts to add value by blending the information that we've been looking at in silos. I'm going to talk about the Careers tab and later options at 18+. From the database, which has about 625 careers in it, a dozen are listed for the student to focus on. Many of these have related careers, The reason they're not shown in the original list is we want to generate a breadth of careers rather than repeating careers which are very, very similar to each other. You can turn those on and off. Students can search additional careers, and they can also change the focus of the career list based on whether they want to highlight their interests or their aptitudes, etc. So if we click on interests, the careers change to overweight the impact of the interests on the algorithm that drives the suggestions. If you do look at interests, I always suggest, particularly as a parent, that you look at their aptitudes, their tested strengths as well. And if the difference between the aptitudes and the interest is not large, then that's good news, in that interests and direction of strengths seem to be tying up. If there's a large difference between them, there may be no issue at all, but I certainly think it's worthwhile booking a time to discuss that with a careers advisor. And you can do multiples, so you might do aptitudes and personality, for example. If you click on a career, you get a description, you get information on career routes, where the thicker the line is the more common approach to that qualification. You get related careers to further broaden the student's ideas, and you get resources. We're linking to the bulk of Australian career portals. On the left-hand side, there is a pane of information looking at academic attainment. Now, Morrisby get the default that you see based on your son's performance in the aptitude test scores. But feel free to change that if it doesn't feel right. And the reason for that is that aptitude test scores are not a good predictor of academic attainment. We're not measuring conscientiousness, and we can't measure things like personal motivation and quality teaching. So if it doesn't feel right, feel free to change. So you may, for example, say your son's going to get 8R over 90, and then he's got what it takes to get into a competitive degree. You can go the other way. You might say maybe a degree is not the right thing to do, either now or permanently. So they might go into full-time employment, and then what you'd have is a whole series of careers at a different level of academic attainment, but still based on the fact someone's likely to do well at school. So I'm just going to pop this back and then go over and have a look at options at 18. And here we're not focused on individual career titles, we're focused on broader study areas. We looked earlier from profile study interests at this rank ordering of study areas based on the questionnaire that's been completed. This is just the questionnaire. When we look at the same list up here, it's including the questionnaire, but also includes aptitudes, interest and personality. So this is kind of a summary of everything that you're possible to do within Morrisby. If we click on an area, we can see that there's quite a lot of information here. There is information on study topics. And this is because these study areas are often an entry basket into general education in that area, and students will choose modules and specialise as they go through, or do a general course and do a specialist course later on. So there's about 150 study areas compared to the 625 specific careers. Again, you have similar areas and resources. Thanks very much for listening.